Yo, yeah, man, I don't know what's today, man. Today I'm not feeling it.
Rock Boom, now in a new bottle with the same taste and same positive energy.
Yeah, I drop it like it's red hot. Shorty's coming back up.
Available in a flooded 20 ml PET bottle.
I just took a Rock Boom and I know it won't fly.
Rock Boom, feel the positive energy.
Hello, good morning. Welcome to Viewpoint. My name is Daniel Luzira. News 24/7 and on the Twitter space at News 24/7 UG. If you've not already joined us, please, you need to be here. If you're joining on Twitter, you can listen and you can also watch live on your YouTube. And for those who are watching on YouTube, you can also be able to catch us on the Twitter space later on. Now, today on the show, we are going to be discussing an issue that has raised dust in this country. If I'm not, I think dust would even be an understatement. It has right now raised a storm in the country. It stemmed from Karamoja, and these iron sheets, some were delivered, and others ended up at certain big people's ranches, farms, and that sort of thing. We've heard from many ministers, and this week we heard from the courts of law, and the courts of law decided to send the minister of Karamoja, Mary Goretti Kitutu, to Luzira on remand, and that is because, you know, she's being implicated in this iron sheets scandal. Of course, she pleads not guilty and says she's faultless, but then again, there are some voices online that think this was scapegoating, and Kitutu is being sacrificed, just like our Lord Jesus Christ was sacrificed yesterday, according to those who believe in the faith of Christianity. She is being nailed to the cross for the transgressions of about 7 other members of Uganda's cabinet. The show, and on the show today, I have Kennedy Okello, who is a member of the National Executive Committee of the Forum for Democratic Change and also Minister of Presidency for FDC. Good morning, Kennedy.
Morning, my brother Lutaya. I'm glad to be here.
All right.
Yes, please.
Okay, and the usual suspect is also here, who has fought corruption in many ways. He calls himself an anti-corruption crusader. He's also a former NRM aspirant for.
Not the former, he's only going.
Okay, ongoing aspirant for Northern Uganda, National Vice Chairperson for the National Resistance Movement, Job Richard Matua. Good morning, and you're welcome once again.
Good morning to you, my brother Daniel Lutaya, and my Omera here. Omera is also a brother.
Yeah, sure.
Our Omera Okello.
Yes.
Itiyo nini? Afoyo.
Now, of course, they are Omeras, but they disagree on many things. I'm going to start with you, Kennedy, about the way this has been handled. Ugandans were up in arms and calling for action. And President Museveni said he's going to investigate. He doesn't want to arrest anybody before investigations. And this week, we saw the Honorable Minister in court and being sent to Luzira. And right now, the Honorable Minister for Karamoja is dressed in yellow, but it is not on her own accord. It is not for NRM. She's dressed in yellow, beautiful yellow dress in Luzira prison. What do you think about how this has been handled?
Well, you've started the conversation from the tail end of it. However, my view is to look at corruption holistically, because this Mabati scandal is just one of the many scandals that we have witnessed in the country. We have seen very huge scandals before. We saw the Gavi being in all sorts of scandals. It's more of a routine. It's only that this Mabati scandal, and I deliberately call it Mabati so that the Karamojongs out there appreciate it, that this Mabati scandal has captured our imagination because of the people, the beneficiaries involved herein. My brother Lutai have been to Karamoja.
Yes.
The situation is dire. Things are bad on the ground. The Karamojongs are dying of anger. But only that, much as the Karamojongs are suffering, but the suffering of the Karamojong also extends to the other regions of Uganda. For instance, the Teso sub-region, the Choli sub-region, the Lango sub-region. What was the purpose of this Mabati? There was a request, a supplementary request, specifically for goats, and we should not forget about the goats, for goats and Mabati to be used to pacify, to resettle they call them the Karachunas, the Karamojong warriors.
Yes, after disarmament.
Yes. And this was the purpose of this Mabati. But what happens? If you fail to settle the Karamojongs, then you're actually creating a bigger problem to all the other regions that I've just mentioned. Now, what happens? Those we put in charge of such functions, what do? They decide to distribute the items to themselves with impunity. Because this is purely impunity. How somebody even gets the courage to start distributing the property or public property to themselves. And you see, it cuts across government. That's the unfortunate bit. That this is not an individual isolated action. Look at the people involved. The names being mentioned there. People in the Prime Minister's office, the Ministry of Finance. People who are supposed to know better. People who are supposed to know better. In respect to what you've just asked, that the sending of Kitutu to Luzira is not enough. I'm actually not impressed. Because I am if you look at the actions,
But you, FDC, you've been calling for ministers to be jailed. Now the minister has been jailed. You cannot say you are not happy.
It is not. It's not about this particular individual being sent to Luzira. Of course, she's culpable. She has to take the fall. But the cover-up in there is where my concern is. That we should address this scandal, particularly this scandal, holistically. Who are involved? What mechanism and steps are we taking to ensure that we resolve this and whoever is involved takes the fall? The multiplicity of the investigations ongoing all points to a cover-up. Because you can't get the CID running after these culprits. You can't get Parliament running after the same culprits. You can't get the IGG, they are involved. These people should have been just handed over to the CID. They are more professional in handling this particular matter. And they prosecute them. Otherwise, this multiplicity... Yesterday I saw the committee of Prime Minister. And I believe that is the line the rest of the group have taken. And that could even be the government position. She was telling the committee that, and in a very funny, those who are still having Mabati out there in their compounds, most of them claim this Mabati fell like manna from heaven in their compound. Those who are still having Mabati there out in their compound, please bring them back. You see, the fact that you are allowing Mabati to be brought back to be received by the OPM already points to a cover-up. Because this Mabati is supposed to be lying at Chibuli, the CID headquarters, as evidence against each one of them who received this Mabati. Two, when they received this Mabati, most of them use them for personal benefit. Personal benefit. You hear people saying, I sent it to a public school, I sent it to a church and the rest. The unfortunate bit, it was for personal benefit. You saw a minister of finance. What he
Yes.
used it for.
My member of parliament, by the way.
your member of
yes,
parliament.
from Kayunga. My MP.
He should have done better. He thought his goats and cows are more important than the Karamojong sleeping in a more secure, sheltered homes. So the whole point here is that we need to appreciate that our system, as it stands now, is not doing enough. Look at the fight against corruption. In general terms, the statements being made by the president in respect to, say for instance, the steps being taken by the IGG, in respect to the lifestyle audit, in respect to declarations of wealth. You saw the letter therein, which tries to, remove other people from these processes. All this points to lack of will, political will to fight this. Yes, Kitutu has taken the first fall. Can they do more? Can we have the rest following?
Do you think they can?
That is what
You seem to think they can't.
I don't think. Kitutu is a sacrificial lamb and she has gone. And by the way, it's blasphemy to compare her with the Jesus. Because this is what happens to thieves. And there is no honor amongst thieves.
Yes.
They will quickly sacrifice one of their own. Jesus' situation was totally different. So here Kitutu has been sacrificed because she was in... This is what happens when a group of thieves, share a loot.
Job Richard Matua, who wants to be chairperson of Northern Uganda in the National Resistance Movement, Kennedy seems to believe that your party cannot prosecute, cannot fight corruption, not at this level, because we have, how many people have been implicated in the Iron Sheet scandal, and they are the top government officials in the country. And we're talking about the Prime Minister, talking about the Speaker of Parliament, number 3 in power from the order of precedence, from President.
Yes.
Really, how much convince us that Ugandans should expect than the arrest of Kitutu, whom Kennedy calls a sacrificial lamb?
Yeah, thank you very much, my brother Daniel Lutaya, and my very brother, Omera Kennedy Okello. I listened to him carefully. If you and it is uncommon for me not to interject somewhere in a conversation. Daniel, I will tell you. But I was very quiet listening to you. I want to say to the viewers out there and to our listeners that I'm going to give you information, some of which you have never known. And I want to start from there. To begin with, the total amount of money that was messed up is 150 billion Ugandan cedi. Get note of that.
I'm getting your figure.
150 billion Ugandan cedi. What was this money meant for? Remember, recent Karmojongs were dying of hunger. Absolutely. Over 3,000 people died because of hunger. Yeah. Government released the money to procure food, beans and posho, to be supplied, to be given to the Karamojong, the dying Karamojong, the hungry Karamojong.
Absolutely.
I want to inform the countrymen and women that 290 tons of maize flour were diverted. 90 tons of maize flour. 1 ton is equivalent of 1,000 kilograms of maize flour. A dying Karamojong who needed that thing, it was diverted.
So they didn't only divert Mabati.
It is not only Mabati.
It's not about Mabati.
This is what
and that's the point.
This is what I want us to be very careful about. You get me? We must be very careful when we are looking into this issue. People are putting too much emotion and they are missing the target. And I want them to get the target. Number 2, 100,000 iron sheet, gauge 28, were to be procured. The ordinary market price of gauge 28 is about 55,000 there. But I can tell you that these iron sheet were procured at a much higher price, estimated to be around 110,000 per iron sheet. That means 11 billion was budgeted to buy 100,000 iron sheets. Not all the 100,000 iron sheets were bought. And of the iron sheets which were bought, the only iron sheet that reached were the one in Nakapiripiriti, where Foreign Minister Esther Nyakuni was, at least was coordinated, around 4,000 there, coordinated together with the cow of Nakapripriti. You get me?
Nakapripriti
Then
district.
Muroto got 1,000 iron sheet. That time when the president went to launch the program,
The program itself. Yes.
my friend, they took the president. It was launched in a massive way. Some people got iron sheet. Some people got some few goats. Others we are told that
few sick goats. Yeah.
your things are coming. They're on the way. Yeah. Others we are told your thing is on the way. Your thing is on the way, and you could not go back to tell them that these things are not coming.
Not coming. Yes.
Number 3, goats. Improve the goats. These people budgeted for improve the goats. Daniel Lutaya, take note of this very well.
Improve the goats.
Why improve the goats? Because that is, they use that as an excuse to hike the price to 800,000 per goat. Omera, you know how much goats are in our place there. Improve
800,000 shillings per goat.
per goat. Improve the goat. And they were supposed to buy 74,000 goats. You get me? Not all these goats were. And in fact, they bought around 30,000. In fact, 30% of that. They bought 30% of what was supposed to be expected to be bought. Now, look, you can't buy an improved goat from Liantonde. You bring it to Kampala. From Kampala, you transport it one way to Karamoja without that goat resting. Indeed, 70% of the goats which were taken died. You get me? Now, what was this thing about? We must underpin this. You know, the discussion has been done without reference to the issue. The intention of the government of Republic of Uganda was to de-escalate the insecurity in Karamoja, occasioned by the warrior, the Karatunas, the raiders. It was discovered that Karamojongs practice nomadism. You find a whole village like Kisas here can decide to relocate to Masaka forever. I said that?
Yes.
So government wanted to make Karamojongs settled. So by building permanent houses. So
That is why they give them the iron
that's
sheet.
why that idea of the iron sheet came up. Because one reason as to why these raiders are doing so, they don't have any home. They raid from here, they go to Masaka, they raid, they continue just moving from one place to another, raiding, extending up to Acholi, Lango sub-region, Teso, Sebei. I said that the insecurity had already spilled over to other sub-regions past the Karamoja. Now, then there was a need to support economically the Karamojong. Majority of the Karamojongs have lost their cattle. They no longer have, in fact, there are people who don't even now have the cows. A traditional Karamojong culture requires that every person, every man has cows. Now they don't have, because they have been raided. This thing has become economical. People raid and they sell them off. I said that. It used to be a culture where you raid and you
keep.
have big, you keep.
Yes.
Nowadays they raid and sell them off. It has turned into an economic war. I said that. So there was a need to empower these people. Each household identified was supposed to receive 16 goats. You capture this very well. 16 goats. Each household. And between 20 to 25 pieces of iron sheet. Between 20 to 25 pieces of iron sheet. So let's begin the conversation from here. Now, arriving at this point, my viewers and the countrymen and women, plus you, other people watching us from around the world, this program was managed by Office of the Prime Minister, and specifically the Ministry for Karamoja Affairs.
Yes.
Who is the Minister for Karamoja Affairs?
Mary Goreti Kitutu.
Now, why are people saying she's a sacrificial lamb? Do you know what? There are two references in the Holy Bible where we use the case of sacrificial lamb. One, where Abraham tried to kill Isaac, the innocent child.
Yes.
That's one. By the way, to be a sacrificial lamb,
You must be
innocent. To qualify.
Maybe because
Let me tell you.
common law, we are all innocent until proven
It
guilty.
is abuse of reference. It is misuse of reference.
Yes.
She's not innocent. You get me? The second case is the death of Jesus Christ for our only sin. An innocent person dying for us. So was this one an innocent person? No. So that term sacrificial lamb is misused and should not appear in any public conversation whatsoever.
Well, maybe if dying on behalf of others.
If it is in reference to the Bible.
Yes. So which term should we use?
We should say
The scapegoat.
that the prime suspect has been nailed. Then the other auxiliary suspect should be brought. It's like if you have a tree, the main trunk has been taken to Luzira. Can we also have the branches brought together? I'm going to that. You get me? So this program has been managed by Office of Prime Minister and the Ministry for Karamoja Affairs. Who was the chief person in charge? Honorable Minister Dr. Mary Goreti Kitutu Kimono. And the the project manager was Mr. Abaho Joshua, this one on the run, for whom criminal summons has been issued. Mr. Joshua Abaho. I want the people of Uganda to know this. And the other person who was responsible is the Undersecretary of OPM, Mr. Geoffrey Seremba. Capture this very well. These are the technical people now in connivance with the Honorable Minister Mary Goreti Tutu, who decided to give what belongs to the Karamojong people, the dying Karamojong, to other beneficiaries of their interest, which they must explain to the state and to the people of Uganda.
But what about the beneficiaries? He's saying even the beneficiaries need to answer.
Look here.
Are they blameless?
According to Uganda's criminal justice
These
system.
are not ordinary beneficiaries.
Now look here. Look, give me a chance. Yeah. According to Uganda's criminal justice system, you must start from the engine of that problem. So the engine, we have started from the engine. The state has started from the engine. The security has started from the engine. Now, Honorable Minister Goreti Tutu has the privilege, has the liberty to tell all other people to whom she gave the iron sheet, all will be summoned, no matter how big they are. They will be charged.
But
now, let me tell you.
Job, are you talking about the government of Uganda? Which country are you talking about? Because I've told you that the suspects, the people you're calling branches of this tree, are very powerful in the country.
Trunks, actually.
The trunks. We have the leader of a whole arm of government is implicated in the Speaker of Parliament is implicated in this.
Can I inform you?
Yes.
That person is untouchable. All public servants take oath in the interest of the people. They are serving in public office. In fact, you are more powerful than those people. Those people just look big for you. I can assure you, those who are very braggart, who are very arrogant, they should remember what Honorable Minister Goreti Tutu went through during the time of the court session. She came covering herself. Now the powerful person was now hiding, peeping through the glasses. So I can tell you, have you not seen a vice president in Luzira? Baliba Seka was there.
Yes.
Was it not in the same government of NRM? Is this going to be the first powerful minister who is in the dock?
Kitutu is not the most powerful person who received those iron sheets.
Was it not in the NRM?
No. What I'm asking is I want you to answer this question. Yes. Is Dr. Kitutu the most powerful person that is implicated in the iron sheet scandal? And that will direct us in how we...
To answer you, she is the chief suspect. So the chief suspect is in custody, countrymen and women, and we must celebrate that. And I want to thank the president, who has been very assertive on this matter. I want to thank the CID, especially led by AIGP Tom Magambo. I want to thank the Director of Public Prosecution for immediately sanctioning this case file. I want to inform the countrymen and women that Kitutu's file is ready. Next time she will appear in court, she will be committed to High Court for trial to start. Then the two technical officers, Abaho Joshua and Seremba, will be charged. And all other people who took iron sheets meant for the dying Karamojong, whether they claim to have given it to school or what, all of them will be charged. And I can tell you, the government of National Resistance Movement, led by General Yoweri Museveni Kaguta, does not tolerate any corruption in this country, and I am tired of corruption in this country.
You sound like you are new in this country. You just landed last night.
You are tired of corruption in this country.
I'm very tired of corruption in this country. I'm very tired.
And presided over by the same person you are now.
Corruption in Uganda is not yellow. It's not blue. It's not green. It is a Ugandan issue.
But
it is in the church. It is in the church. It is in the market. It is in the government offices. So you cannot just accuse the NRM for the corruption.
See,
Okay, I want to bring in Jim.
The day you make corruption faceless, that corruption has no face.
Before you can bring
is the fight the day you start losing.
Before you can bring my other colleague,
yes.
I want to inform you that I was the person who blew the whistle over this issue of Karamoja affair. I blew the whistle. I held a press conference. And I demanded that Parliament constitute a committee. I demanded that action.
And the country should be grateful to you for that.
And this was the second action I took in the interest of the people of Uganda after NSSF battle. You get me? Because in the committee I was asked, after this NSSF, do you intend to solve other problem? And I told the committee members of Parliament that I am leading a coalition of patriots, very fierce patriots and cadres, who believe in a common ideology of a better Uganda for all. And we intend to clean at least 13 entities or agencies of government by 2031. After this OPM, there is another one. I will bring it before you, countrymen and women. Okay. Let's return our country to normal, do away with all these evil, corrupt people. We have a better Uganda for all.
Okay, I think for Abdallah's case, he will just if I asked Abdallah how we could get rid of all this corruption,
yes,
he would say it is to get rid of your party. But let me ask him, so he says it himself. Abdallah,
it is me, the NRM, who blew the whistle on NSSF, who was the chief witness.
But FDC will tell you they've been blowing many whistles before.
But you see, the whole point here is that.
Yes.
And I want to take you on what you say.
No, yes. No, you have to write that down because I want Abdallah to come in. Abdallah Tif Mukasa. Abdallah Tif Mukasa is the head of institutions at JMA. Good morning. You found the discussion getting heated, and I know you must have you are taking some notes there.
For 1 second, please, Ugandans should appreciate the arrest of this minister. We should say all others should equally be prosecuted. That will be positive. But to say this one is sacrificial lamb, and a guilty person or somebody who is highly suspected, who was in charge of something, cannot be a sacrificial lamb.
Okay. The body will prove us otherwise.
Abdallah, do you think that, first of all, what do you think about how the Iron Sheets scandal has been handled, the Karamoja Iron Sheets, but also moving forward, do you think that the NRM government is capable of fighting corruption as their policy says zero tolerance to corruption?
Well, thank you so much, and my apologies for not making it in time. Due to unavoidable circumstances that I did encounter along the way on my way here. I want to appreciate my colleagues for their submissions, and also to thank you, Daniel, for this program. My name is Abdallah Tif Mukasa, and I am the head of institutions in the Justice Forum. Most people call it JEMA. First of all...
Over Basalirwa. Or Basalirwa.
No, it's not for Basalirwa. Basalirwa is just the party president. But it's for Ugandans. Well, the issue of corruption, the handling of the Honorable Mary Goretti Kitutu, it's just a spillover. It's like you would have a glass of water, and then that water spills off. So we are celebrating for that spill of water. That is Mary Goretti Kitutu.
Thank you very much.
In my own view, it is even unnecessary to discuss Mary Goretti Kitutu, because Mary Goretti Kitutu is just a drop
in the ocean.
In the ocean. There are so many things that are happening, and Ugandans do not know about this. We are just grateful that we are able to understand and know that there is a scandal related to the Iron Sheets. The NRM government has no will, that's one, has no capacity to fight corruption.
No capacity. Do you know how many
NRM? No capacity.
Let me just tell you. There is the IGG's office. There is the CID. There is State House Anti-Corruption Unit. There are, you know, there is this one of Financial Intelligence Authority. There is ISO. There is DISO. There is GISO. All to fight corruption. How can you say they don't have capacity, really, Abdallah?
Daniel, and to all Ugandans listening and watching us here, I want to still maintain my statement. The government of Uganda, headed by the NRM chairperson, Mr. Museveni, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, has no capacity and has no will to fight corruption. In the year 2018-2019, we had the exhibit 1504. If you remember the New York corruption scandal where we had the Chinese man,
Yes.
Mr. Hu, and the head of UN by then, Honorable Sam Kutesa.
Yes.
These are historical members of the NRM party. We had exhibit number 1510. That was Mr. Museveni himself. He received a bribe of $500,000.
That has not been proven. It has not been proven, and I think the president was exonerated.
Yes.
If I have my historical facts right.
The exoneration,
Give him a chance.
the exoneration had many undertones and why it had to be like that. Now, another point I want to give you. We've had many of the strongholds within the NRM being involved in so many corruption scandals. You remember the Mike Mukula?
Yes.
He was involved and he was in Luzira for some time. You remember that is Gavi Funds, Jimu Muhwezi, and let me also tell you this. In the year, you remember the time Mr. Museveni led a demonstration? Was it a demonstration?
A
I
walk.
don't know. It was
A walk against corruption.
against
Yes.
corruption. And then the following day, when the civil societies and many opposition parties, they joined. They're like, "Oh, we are happy this man has identified that there is a problem here. Let's also embrace this and spread the message that we should not tolerate corruption in this country." Do you know what happened?
What?
Because these are the people with facts. These are the people with statistics, with data. They were trying to expose. And they're like, please, they were all netted. And that demonstration never went ahead. Now you talked of these, the IGG, the state anti-corruption, whatever. These are jobs being created for individuals. These are institutions being established because if my brother Matua here does something good, they will think, how do we pay off our man? We have all lived in this country. We know many departments that have been created specifically for individuals. So, this is the IGG, state anti-corruption. Now, look at the IGG. She's operating on a 79 billion budget.
Yes.
And last time I heard her saying that she needs this budget to be increased to 100 billion shillings. But in whatever, I think some time back, she was telling us how they were able to recover 30 billion shillings. You're using 79 billions to recover 30 billions. So all these institutions in place, they do not have any will, but they're just jobs being created for the cadres. Like Daniel, I think we need to put you somewhere. They create a department for you and you're placed there. So whatever is being done is just to hoodwink us. I always tell people, it's like you go to a roundabout and you start rotating so many times. And like, no, I am on my way to Masaka, but you just rotate.
But the anti-corruption has been in the NRM's strategy since it was even NRA. It was in the 10-point program of President Museveni.
It was in the 10 points program of the NRM, it was point number 7.
Yes.
But
So you cannot say they have no will. The first thing he told the country when he got into power as a rebel leader was that he was going to fight corruption. One of the first 10 things. The 7th thing he
how
told
many
us.
years does he need to fight corruption?
Matua will answer
How much
that
more
one.
time does he need?
I will answer. Don't
How
worry.
much more time
I'll
does
answer.
Mr. Museveni want to fight corruption? 37 years down the road, your point number 7 has never been handled. Even the president being mentioned, whether it is true or not, just having that it is allegedly said that the president was given a bribe of $500,000. Whether it is true or it is not true, that is a big scar being tainted on the president, head of state. So, if you come with a 10 points program and your point number 7 is you're telling us you're coming to fight corruption, 37 years down the road, there is nothing on the ground to show. Look at these PDM things. They told us 30 billion shillings. Nowhere.
Okay, let me bring in Kennedy. Kennedy, you've been listening. You listened to Job here, and you were taking very many notes. What are some of those notes that you've been taking? Because Job says, it's possible for the NRM to fight corruption. They've shown you that the biggest fish in the Mabati scandal has been handled, and others are coming. Why don't you be patient?
Oh my God. You know, my brother Job here sometimes get dramatic, but in a nice way. I appreciate his line of thinking. But my brother, look at this. And we need to look at this corruption thing more critically. The NRM government, as we speak today, is presiding over corruption in our budget. If you look at our budget allocation yearly, and this is statistics from the IGG's office, we lose 10 trillion to corruption every year.
Every budget, in every
Every
financial
budget.
Yes, every
And we are running a budget of about 53 trillion now, and we are losing 10.
So in other words, while we are budgeting as a country, we have to budget for corruption
we
now.
factor in corruption.
Okay.
In a government which has consistently presided over such losses, where do you, I mean, how do you expect to fight it? I would like to, I would like to tell you this, that the day corruption becomes a threat to the existence of the NRM government, that corruption will be fought. But as long as corruption, as it is now, is facilitating the existence of the system, corruption will still be in this country. Look,
How is corruption facilitating the existence of the system? What do you mean?
you see,
Which kind of government would want corruption to continue?
but you see, wow, you are government. So the whole point here is that it is innately, NRM by its construction is innately corrupt. Is innately corrupt by its construction. The issue here is that, look, when there was corruption, because now there is this belief that the army is the least corrupt institution in this country.
Yes.
Why would it be so? When there was corruption in the army, and the corruption in the army was threatening the existence of the regime, you know how the war was escalating in the north, they seem not to be in grip of whatever it is, and because the lifeline of the regime is the army, corruption was fought in the army. So the day corruption becomes a problem and threatens the existence of this regime, that corruption will be fought. Because you cannot really be losing 10 trillion. Every financial year. You know what? What 10 trillion could possibly do in this in development? Because now, even as we speak, we have very little for purposes of development. We are only doing recurrent expenditure. We are just eating.
And debt repayment.
And debt
refinancing.
repayment. That's what we are doing as a country. So we are losing 10 trillion. So this cancer here, we have to sit square and look at each other in the eye and say, look, this must stop. And how far should we go with it? We should go to the highest level possible. By now, the fact that people are being mentioned, people near the president, the vice president is being mentioned in this scandal.
Oh, yes.
The prime minister is being mentioned in the scandal. The finance minister is being mentioned. The state minister of finance is in this scandal. The fact that even he can sit with them in the cabinet at this point in time, these people should have stepped aside long time ago. Because they are no ordinary Ugandans that Minister Kitutu places calls to you, like you, me, and you, Matua, and probably my brother here, and says there's iron sheet. I wouldn't ask questions. I would just go and lift the iron sheets.
Yeah, I would have asked you questions.
You see,
I would have asked questions.
you would ask these questions, but somehow you'd get an answer. They'll say, probably because you put on yellow, you have impressed us, we have given you iron sheet, and you take that as an explanation.
Take to your constituency.
Take to your constituency. The fact that these individuals who are already in privileged positions,
yes,
these people are privileged, and they should know what systems are all about. You can't be distributing iron sheets made for Karamoja on SMS, on WhatsApp. That's how unfortunate it is. And you see, even the audacity, the audacity somebody comes with before a parliamentary committee and explains. You see, it points to something so stinking to the sky. And I would like to appreciate my brother Matua here for the description you gave on what is happening in Karamoja and what this money was meant to resolve in Karamoja. He captured it rightly. But look at the audacity. People who sit in cabinet to even approve that supplementary budget after you receive. Somebody just comes and tells you that I woke up one day and there was iron sheet in my compound. Somebody tells you that my PA called me that iron sheet has been delivered and I directed. How do you direct? You don't know the source? Because you see, the whole thing is that either these individuals are not the right people to man our government, or there's something totally innately wrong with these individuals. You cannot, for instance, look at the way the minister, you are a member of parliament, the way he was acting. He put up iron sheets. He even made sure that even the sides of the farm was made of iron sheets. You know, it's just that he was having a bonanza. Then 2 days down the road, he goes and plucks them off. You know, so the whole point is that these individuals should have stepped down long time ago, before even we have Kitutu there. And that's what makes people have misgivings that yes, Kitutu has been sent to Luzira. Well, that's good, but the question is, what is the machination. You can see, and I was telling you about the Prime Minister yesterday, what she was telling her ministers, please return the iron sheets. Return the iron sheets are evidence. Take them to Chibuli, take them to CID headquarters, and you explain how you got this iron sheet. So the whole point here is that unless corruption becomes a threat to existence of the NRM regime, corruption is just another thing. Because the issue is that here, Mr. Museveni seems to not come out full blast against the corruption. Look, for instance, the letters he's writing about the wealth declaration. You cannot excuse a section of public servants from declaring their wealth in a manner that the law provides. And in the letter, he clearly specifies it, that whatever the law says, just know that this is what I want.
He said the law should resonate with the logic.
That the law should resonate with the logic. I mean,
but he has the machinery to change that law if he feels that it's
that's
not
what he
resonating.
should have done first. Because also that points to abuse of power. That points to abuse of power. That the law is what it is, and until you change it or otherwise amend it, that is what it is. You cannot instruct otherwise. Look at when we come to the lifestyle audit, which I think was a good thing, which I think is on. Agree with me, you gentlemen, that there are people who are living way beyond their means. There are people with wealth which cannot be explained. There are people with wealth which cannot be explained in this country. And if you move towards getting a lifestyle audit, you are told that, look, this wealth will flee. Flee where? Go where? Because other countries have tightened up the systems. You're not going to take ill-gotten wealth here and put it in Europe. They will question you. So most of this wealth is just doing here, in real estate and the rest. That's why you can no longer buy a piece of land in Kampala, because of this ill-gotten wealth doing rounds in this city. So the whole issue is that the primary focus of the NRM now, Matua, you want to be the vice chairperson, Northern.
Yes.
I know, until your primary focus becomes power retention, you will not become the chairperson. If you're not speaking to power retention, forget about it. The more you hammer this corruption thing, you are threatening the NRM, and you will not be the vice chairperson.
Okay, Job. I want to come to you. I've just been looking on my phone at the national order of precedence.
Yes.
And from number 1 to number 3, if we called the top 3 most powerful people according to the protocol handbook of Uganda, 2 are implicated in corruption in the Mabati scandal. That is the vice president and the speaker of parliament. What do you have to say about that? As
thank you very much.
NRM, really.
First of all, I would like to thank my 2 brothers for speaking hard on corruption. I wish you could act hard also. Some people simply talk and they do nothing. Second thing I want to emphasize is that corruption is something that threatens everybody.
Absolutely.
You get me? It threatens me, it threatens you, it threatens the future of our country.
Children.
And therefore, fighting corruption must be a genuine battle where every Ugandan, irrespective of your political affiliation, should get involved. The third thing I want to tell you, my brother Abdallah said that NRM does not have the will to fight corruption. I want to inform my brother Abdallah and my other brother Okello that the government of National Resistance Movement does not have any official policy to promote corruption. And the same government came in power with an intention, overzealous intention, to fight this vice, which it found here. By the way, corruption has been here in Uganda before NRM came in power. You get me?
It just engaged the additional gear.
It is the same NRM government that has created anti-corruption agency, the Inspector General of Government, the different investigation department under the police. We have the anti-corruption unit of State House. Then it has created legal regimes to fight corruption. For example, the PPDA Act.
An anti-corruption court also.
Yes, anti-corruption court. was said this is the first government in the history of Uganda where you have a special court handling corruption cases. You cannot tell me that this government does not have any will. My brother, that statement is overriding, and it is not a matching.
No, just take notes.
That statement is not matching with the facts on the ground. What is true is that these anti-corruption agencies have not performed to the best of the expectation of the people of Uganda. This is the objective one. I say that. Let's agree the IGG has not performed to the best of the best we expected it to do. The question then should be, why is it not doing so that we can discuss and strengthen it? But I can tell you,
let me just guide here. As CEO of a company,
yes,
and me, I always like to look at governments as the biggest companies
yes,
in the world.
Yes.
As CEO of Uganda,
yes,
President Museveni, part of one of your departments is not working. What do you do?
No,
you're supposed to ask those questions, but we are using 79 billion to recover 30 billion. And I dare say right now, after learning how much the IGG is spending on finding on just picking 30 billion, that office needs to be closed, because as CEO, just looking at the business side of things, it's not making business sense.
And you're
just
losing 10 trillion.
For us in business, we call it the customer acquisition cost.
Can I tell you something?
You are using 79 to find 30, yes, so clearly close that business.
The 79 is supposed to bring 10 trillion.
Thank you very much.
I'm still
if you can allow
yes,
me the flow of my rebuttal.
Yes,
I can tell you that we must ask ourselves as people of Uganda, what things are impeding the best performance of IGG, the best performance of other anti-corruption agencies, and strengthen them, because the vice itself is also mutating, is changing. Yes, I said that. So we must be able to keep pace with the changing face of corruption. That's what. Then third, I want to tell you that the people of Uganda, to a larger extent, have also let down this country in this fight of corruption. Who are the corrupt people? They are your relatives, they are your cousins, they are your in-laws. Are you telling them to stop? Yes or no? They bring
the loot home. Maybe your relatives bring the loot home. They bring the loot on Christmas Day.
This is what Jacob Olanya told the country in Kololo. May his soul rest in peace.
Yes.
We are the corrupt people. So you cannot talk about corruption as if it is something alien or foreign. When it is with your relatives, who are the one doing this thing, why don't you take a charge? So the invitation, the blank invitation I want to extend to Uganda, every single citizen must join us in the coalition of a better Uganda for all and fight corruption. That's why I had to go and defend the workers of Uganda in the NSSF matter. That is why I had to defend the people of Karamoja in this matter of iron sheet, goats, and the maize flour. And this is an NRM person. So now I want to inform Mr. Abdallah that it was not a Jema person who blew the whistle. Where we are the Jema people.
Yes.
It was not an FDC where we are there.
Yes. Jema, where were you? You're going to answer that question. Why did you?
You might be playing in the wrong team. You're playing in the wrong team.
So I can tell you, there are people in Uganda, both in NRM and outside NRM, who don't want this thing. There are also people in Uganda, both in NRM and in opposition, who thrive from corruption. One of the opposition parties during the primary election, some women got a flag bearer by just opening their legs. That was corruption. Some people paid the money.
I don't know if you have evidence for that.
One of the younger political parties that did not hold the primary election, they used they use haphazard approach to give flag, including some female aspirants being pollinated. That is corruption. Therefore, should be a general concern for all Ugandans to fight. I am already leading a coalition of people who believe in a better Uganda for all. In this fight, I invite my brother Abdallah and my brother Okello. Instead of talking, let's take action. Identify one agency which is having corruption, begin to act on it. The Constitution empowers you to. Thank you very much.
Abdallah.
Yes, thank you so much.
Where were you when NRM people were fighting corruption for NSSF? Where were you?
You see, sometimes most of the whistleblowers, they were either denied access to the
loot.
thank you,
The sharing.
to the sharing. And so when you're denied, that's when I'm not saying that Bwana Matua was part of
You
that.
see, that is diversionary.
but-
Running away from the question.
No. So we might not all be there, but again, each of us has a duty to play as citizens. And what I wanted to tell you is that you've talked about, you've mentioned so many institutions that have been put in place. But the question again is, we have the IGG, State House Anti-Corruption, whatever the Anti-Corruption Court. Then what has kept corruption on? Actually, it's just increasing. It's in an acceleration rate. Now, the problem of corruption in this country, I want to give let me give 2 issues. One, corruption is an element of immorality. We are in a generation, we live in a country where each and everyone is immoral. Our leaders,
Very good. I thank you for that. That is very correct. That is very, very correct.
our leaders, they lack that sense of morality. In my party, Gemma, there is one thing we always tell, I head the institutions. Whenever we have an opportunity to speak to the young people, we tell them, if we want a better country, let's start with morality. If someone is moral, one, when we are growing up, we were being told that Tobanga, in the Bible, they all say that in Exodus, Tobanga. So we grew up knowing that you cannot take what is not yours. And now the leaders we have, because they are too immoral, they do not know that being corrupt, you're denying someone a service. Our leaders do not know that if you're in charge of maybe constructing a road, if you do a substandard road, someone is going to lose a life. So our leaders are too irresponsible. They have lost that sense of responsibility. In that now, whatever they do, it is about themselves and their families. If you are a doctor and you're supposed to go for work on duty by around, say, 8 a.m., you report at 9, that is corruption because you're denying someone a service. And that takes us back to the point I said, we are too irresponsible. If you are a teacher, you're supposed to be in class by 8 a.m. You're reporting at school by 9:30. That is corruption because you're being paid for service, but you're denying someone to.
Then why are you blaming NRM for it? Because
Now-
how does NRM come into that now?
No,
Well-
give him a chance to explain to Uganda
the
that he's now
issue-
on the right path.
The issue of the NRM.
Yes.
My brother said corruption was there before NRM, and I totally agree. But when any leader comes up and you want to take over leadership, we expect you to come with the solutions. Now, why do we blame NRM? NRM, I want to thank it that during the time they hoodwinked Ugandans and killed them in Ruwero, they were able to spot that there is a problem with corruption. And they made it under the point number 7 on that NRM 10-point program. But my problem, how much more time do they need to fight corruption? How much more time do they, because
Could I answer that on the spot?
37 years.
Take
You're
notes.
You're still singing the same thing. We NRM want to fight corruption. What else do you want? We've given them the resources. They've established so many institutions doing the same thing, duplicated work. They are all being facilitated by state resources. What else do they need to fight corruption? Maybe that's what they should tell us as a country.
They need you to also come on board, maybe.
But we have
you are not
We are
coming
already
on board.
I've already told you that in my party, one thing we are telling people is we are grooming, we are breeding a future generation of leaders which are corrupt free. That's why we are instilling the sense of morality into them. We are telling if you're a parent and you're raising children, your children are seeing you're the person who can steal you. They see you tapping into electricity at home. You're the people who tap into water. So if your children see you as a father stealing water, stealing electricity, these small things, they have a very big impact on the lives of our children. These children who are seeing their father stealing water, they're the same people who are going to become members of parliament the next day. If someone who can steal iron sheets for the vulnerable people, imagine what happens to the money that we do not even see. We cannot trust such a group of people. I saw this honorable minister Goreti Kitutu covering herself, trying to hide her face. What is she trying to hide? She would have been the most happy person because she's being taken to court. What if the public chooses to gang against her for mismanaging the public resources? So, being taken to court, she would actually say, thank you, God, for this. Because it is the best way we can deal with her. And then, Mr. Museveni should also act. If all the people around you, your ministers, the closest persons around you, what message does
The
you-
top three.
The top three.
The ones he calls in the middle of the night if
You know,
they...
people involved in corruption. Isn't this a wake-up call for Mr. Museveni? To say that, no, I think things have run out of my hands. So, Mr. Museveni as a man...
But when he calls you opposition people to come and give him some of your good corrupt free people, you refuse. You refuse to give him your ministers.
It does not take them with good intentions.
Hey, if he came to you today and told you to go and be a minister in his
I
cabinet,
cannot be a minister in Museveni's government.
but now you're saying you are.
I cannot. Because I know, if you go there, you do not take your brain. He takes away your brain and you have to act on his orders. So I cannot be a minister in Museveni's government.
Is it a Museveni problem?
Yes.
Or is it a Ugandan problem?
Yeah, it's Museveni's problem.
What?
Because there is, there is a lie I wanted to quote that if you're the head and your juniors misbehave, I don't know how they call it.
No, the buck stops with you.
Yes.
Yes.
The buck
With
stops
the leader.
With him.
I think it's called vicarious liability.
Yes, yes.
Vicarious liability.
Yes.
So whatever is taking place, Museveni should actually be the first person to be questioned, because these are the people he's mind over. Museveni is the head of cabinet. He's the head of this. He's the head of this. He's the head of state.
But how does he sit with them and look at them?
So how, honestly, how do you, and you're comfortable with people involved, named in this, stealing iron sheets? If only, if you know this discussion on corruption, when we even discuss iron sheets, we are narrowing the conversation. Like I said in my preamble remarks, like the iron sheet, it's just
the tip of the
a
iceberg.
tip of the iceberg. Involved, they would have handled it in the shadows, and we would not know. Just like I want to believe there are so many cases that are being handled in the shadows, and now we cannot run a country like that.
Kennedy, is corruption so, because, well, everybody is saying that it even starts with doctors, teachers, businessmen, everybody is corrupt in the country. The Right Honorable Olanya once gave a speech, it was during the walk against corruption, and he said, all of us are corrupt. We are here, but all of us are corrupt. Yeah. Then, is it possible to even fight it? Why don't we just leave it alone? Because it looks like it's part of who we are as a country. But also, if FDC came into power tomorrow, you would inherit this very corrupt government. What do you do? Because it's not only the politicians. The politicians you can change. The technical people are permanent. Some of them, even their titles have permanent secretary, permanent. You cannot do anything. Permanent and pensionable. So what do you do?
No, you see, the whole point here is that, I don't like the trend of conversation that we are taking, trying to make corruption faceless. Corruption has a face.
What is that face?
Corruption has a face. The face of corruption. Have you
What-
never seen a face of corruption?
What is
You
the
must
face
have
of
seen the
corruption?
face of
You-
corruption. When you are dealing with NSSF and the rest and whistleblowing, you are actually faced with the corruption. So the corruption has a face. And to me, I am saying, and this is very basic. That look, the reason why me and you collect all these resources of ours in form of taxes and give it to the central government is because we expect the government which runs the state to handle the resources responsibly. And so, if our government is riddled with corruption, the buck stops with the head of state. I don't want us to
But the head of state has even created his own unit to fight corruption. So he's trying.
The fact that they're even failing, he's the one on trial. Because look here.
So President Museveni is on trial.
He's on trial. He's in the dock to see how he acts on this. Yes, he has taken he may say that, look, I am going to fight this. Because, and I was telling you earlier on, how does he even sit with these fellas? How do you sit with this fella or in cabinet?
By law, they are innocent until proven guilty. You know that.
Yes, but there's a direction this is supposed to take. They are not supposed to be there, pontificating and telling all this whatever they are saying about the iron sheets and the rest. So the point here is that Mr. Museveni takes our taxes. His government is supposed to run this state in a responsible manner. And if we are riddled with corruption, I don't want us to take it down to a teacher there and blame a father or blame a mother who has not acted. We have somebody we give money to. There's somebody taxing us every day. And if we are going to give you our money and then you lose 10 trillion in a budget, really, Are you still capable of running this state? So the whole issue is that with corruption is that we have to accept certain realities that we are faced with here. That yes, we have a government whose system has failed to face, to sort out this corruption thing. Because it's as if now it has become systematic that everybody is taking a cut. As the resources flow, everybody takes a cut. And this could be why what attempted the ministers, that the ministers were taking their cut of everything. And that's how it looks like the government system now works. That for every resource that comes through, if I'm presiding over a project, I must take my cut.
We the people only get what is left after the cuts.
You are the tail end. You are the tail end there. And that's what was happening to the Karamojongs. That yes, Parliament passed the supplementary budget. And my brother here explained to you, we were supposed to have goats, we were supposed to have posho, we were supposed to have iron sheets. Now everybody was taking a cut from Kampala before it actually goes down to the Karamojong. You see, the issue here is that we are not appreciating the impact of some of these actions. You walk the streets of Kampala.
Yes.
Have you seen the children of Karamoja on the street? There are certain sad scenes that you see on our street here. And I wonder whether those people who drive it, or is it because they drive in SUVs with the tinted glasses, they don't see those children who are sleeping on a pavement at midday. You see a Karamojong child sleeping on a pavement. You see a woman carrying a child on the back, begging begging. And these are people who have resources back home. But because the people who are manning the state, the people who are supposed to be taking care of these such kind of challenges are bent on. So everybody follows up. If it is in your docket, Mr. Matua, today you're distributing, what do you have in your docket? Man, send me my share here. And that's how it seems the government is being run. Because the audacity, you see me, the whole thing is that the audacity, the fact that a minister can sit and start allocating, something meant for a particular region, and you send it, that audacity, the fact that there is no risk in it. We need to make this game risky. Somebody was telling you that in countries like Japan, if they point at you that you are corrupt, our expectation is that we should get away. No. In Japan, we expect you to come to your house just because you've been mentioned, and we open. Our expectation is to find when you've committed suicide. In China, they are killed. In Europe, probably they imprison you. And what does it happen in Uganda? In Uganda, you explain. And that's what they are doing. Explanation after explanation. Mabati fell from whatever. Me, I found it on the roadside. Me, I picked it from whatever it is. It's explanation. And we seem to be consuming these explanations. Me, I think by right now, those statements they made at CID, and I want the lead organization in this to be the CID to handle this. Forget about the politicking, the Committee of Parliament, the IGG and the rest. Let us have those men in the CID. We put them after these guys like dogs and tell them catch them. And you see, because we have very professional people in the CID there. I've interacted with these individuals before. These people look to be, they appreciate, they know how to bring up these charges, they know how to interrogate, because they will interrogate you on that table of theirs. They will interrogate you and get to the truth. Let's have the CIDs arrest these people. Forget about this other, and the other point is that we seem also to have achieved, as Ugandans, we seem to have achieved our expectations already. And I don't think we should get tired. That the expectations of Uganda is that papers, when it goes to the media like now, we talk about it, and we find something else to talk about. And we feel satisfaction that we have spoken about a vice president who stole iron sheet, or we have spoken about UN who stole iron sheet. And we get satisfaction from just talking about this. Just like Kitutu was covering her face, so many other people should go covering their faces as well. There's a list.
They should not cover their face. They should make their face seen.
No. Let them cover their faces.
By the dying Karamojo.
It is so shameful.
Yes.
It is so shameful. Actually, me, I appreciated that. She should have even put on a sack or covered her head. It's a very shameful exercise. It's a very shameful thing.
I agree with you.
Yes.
My brother,
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, if I can interject here, the first thing I want to say is that corruption is bad.
Corruption is bad.
Corruption
Absolutely.
is stinking.
Corruption
it is
kills.
smelly. It kills.
Yes.
You are speaking like your president. President Museveni keeps saying that.
I come from Arua. and he comes from Gulu. Most of the drugs which are delivered to government hospitals there,
Find their way back.
not back. They are being taken and
To
sold in South Sudan. In fact, the health system in South Sudan is being managed by the government drugs of Uganda. Omera, who are those stealing the drug? They are health workers. Are they politicians? No.
But we're supposed to
Now,
call them to order.
I want to tell you this. I want to tell you that Arua Regional Referral Hospital, in a brand new ambulance was delivered. And it was stolen.
Yes, that one.
Found it
And-
Till now,
and-
we've
and-
never
and-
found that
and-
ambulance.
And I took over that matter. And very, very seriously, the director of Arua Regional Referral Hospital. In fact, he opened a case on me, but that did not deter me from following the matter. You know, some Ugandans only saw me in this explosive NSSF thing. But there are many other battles of corruption that I have fought. The money for UACE of Buambo City School here in a Gombe division in Nansana municipality was eaten by officials in town clerk's office. And the term was ending, and the money was not there. I found the head teacher, Mr. Damulira, the former head teacher, very stressed in the Baroda Bank here in Kawempe, asking the head teacher, what is wrong? He gave me banker statement. I rang Mr. K. Muhakanizi inside the bank there one way. And he rang her there, and he called me at 2 p.m. we had a meeting. That was the first time I saw somebody called the accountant general in the Ministry of Finance, called Mr. Semakula. I recovered that money within 1 week. They vomited that money. The money which that head teacher failed to get. I recovered it. So I can tell you, Omera, corruption has now relocated to local government. It is so intense and endemic. And who are the people leading this? These are technocrats. So therefore, my proposal is that we may need to ideologically orient people. We assign responsibility. We may need to empower them ideologically. Otherwise, some of these people think.
So we take them to Chankwanzi.
Chankwanzi plus other places.
You need to go
This
for.
mindset thing of yours. You said the whole thing is that Chankwanzi ordinarily would not be a bad place.
Omera say,
All states have these national institutes and the
Yes.
rest of it. Challenge is Matua. As soon as you take these people
Yeah.
for that mindset thing of you as ideological orientation, whatever it is, you are basically tuning them,
Now, can I
into
tell you-
regime,
Can-
regime survival,
Can
politics.
I inform the House?
Yeah.
I am a proud product of Chankwanzi. And the one leading the corruption fight. How? I can tell you in
I know,
Chankwanzi
of
is
the
a-
199 gone, it's only you.
Look here, I'm leading. His members there for ideological empowerment. There they don't teach about any other aim. It is about Uganda. It's about leadership. Yes, actually some people have a wrong info. They misinform the public about Chankwanzi. I'm hearing a noise that there is an opposition party that want to dismiss its leader because of them going to Chankwanzi. Really, that is very, very unfortunate.
Yes.
So I can therefore say that my people of Uganda, the ministers, the government officials who took this iron seat, who even pretended that they donated it to government schools, aware that they took iron sheets which were meant for a different vote for Karamoja, those explanations are narrow and void, and they will be charged. The government
Even after they return them, as the Prime Minister
I can tell
said.
you their evidence because their documentation is there, which they did to get those things. In fact, I thank them very much for even coming to the public to say, you know, I got it, I gave it to a government school, or I got it, I am going to return. Now, what were you doing with the iron sheet? Whose iron sheet was it? A cabinet minister must be in the know of a decision taken